America is waiting a generation that's going to stride out into the hall, unhinge Ishmael's pragmatic lies, disable his political whoredoms, and track him as he flees across the American campus. American superheroes must hunt the political murderers themselves, wounded, through the halls of the journals and periodicals, from newscast to video, and across the internet plaza. Their deceptions must be flushed from committees, driven from caucuses, expunged from legislatures, councils, and conventions. American superheroes must cut off his escape routes, ransack his weapons caches and hideouts, track Ishmael Axe into whatever rat hole he chooses, and do to him what he tried to do to American culture. What he tried to do to the Ron Paul campaign today, but he failed. Ron Paul spent a career of 30 years with an incredible discipline to the Constitution. It was phenomenal. And most people a year ago didn't know who he even existed. And do you know what he purchased with that 30 years of strict adherence to the truth? He bought a generation that's going to kick the doors down. We're not close to done. For about that period of time, I've been struggling against the powers that showed themselves in that building. And I've watched, as we had the Reagan Revolution and the Robertson people came in, and the Reagan people had a superstar. When I say the Reagan people, I was one of them. We had a superstar that won everything for us. He was a movie star. World famous. People loved him, brought tears to their eyes when he spoke. He won the presidency. And he was up there pretty much alone. And you know, you complain, well, he had all these CFR guys, and well, there wasn't anybody else there. Where were you guys? And then we had Pat Robertson emerge and bring all kinds of people out of the woodwork. They believed in America, they believed in good things. Well, they didn't have the guts to kick the door down. And we saw the Pat Buchanan people, and they had the guts to kick the door down, but they got sick of this party and left. They decided to go third party. Haven't heard from them since.
They're disappeared.
Ron Paul, in 30 years, purchased you guys. You guys, in 1 year, purchased today a major historic change in the Republican Party. You bought this today, and we have the evidence. It's the crown jewels. For the last several weeks, we have been aware of the nefarious schemes that the Republican Party enacted today. And we have been struggling through parliamentary means, through every possible strategic struggle, through every, we had all contingency plans for this and that. How are they going to do this? How are we going to stop this, the other thing, that? And I told you last night, there's some kinds of cheating you cannot fix with parliamentary procedure, because they simply hold a gun at your head and dare you to fight. And that's why they had 39 sergeants at arms. That's why they hired security. That's why they had guards running all over everywhere, and a fascist regime, because they knew the things they were doing to us really demanded that we punch them in the nose. And I want to thank you for your discipline to stay the course. It was not in vain. What we accomplished today will never be changed. And you don't even know what it is yet. It's called a petition for declaratory... What's the last word?
Declaratory relief.
A petition for declaratory relief. Now, isn't that what you were going for? I'm sure you woke up every day and said, what we really need around here is a petition for declaratory... I can't even say it.
Declaratory.
Declaratory relief. Well, let me tell you what the deal was. As we were doing all of this strategy and contingency planning and struggling with the rules and reading potential rules and reading past rules from conventions back to 1996 from presidential elections, thinking, what are they going to do? What can we do? What if we do this and that? We're playing chess in the back room. We're reading all the stuff as it comes out of the executive board. We're reading between the lines as the GOP makes all of its curious twists and turns and hints. And then we have a letter from Luke Esser that goes out declaring the executive board in absolute violation of Washington state law, the convention rules established for this convention, and the national convention. Says we're going to have Soviet-style elections. They didn't put it all into the rules today, but referred it. The people out here had no idea what they were voting for. They had simply blinded their eyes, turned their back on the Jews, and marched behind the Fuhrer. And that's no less than exactly what that was. They had no idea what they were putting in, and they were desperate to keep us from telling anybody what they were doing. But what they did was a crime, and we're going to get them for it. For all this time, we have known that what they were attempting to do was illegal. It's a violation of Washington state law.
It's conspiracy.
Okay. All right. What they put into effect were laws that took away the rights guaranteed by our national party to elect our delegation. We had instead a Soviet-style election. No one could be on the ballot for the allocated delegates that wasn't chosen by outside parties with whom the party had no ability to elect. Our national rules say we get to elect our delegates. But when someone else chooses your nominees, did we see that ballot? The guy was speaking on it. He was right out here. He said, Soviet style, you heard that speech. He had the ballot right. Do you have it right with you?
We had one name.
We had an election and one person was on the ballot today. But you know, when the party, when the Politburo gets, there it is. And it wasn't the only place.
One name.
It doesn't matter if there's two, if the party dictates who these people are. Okay, this violated the national rules. I'm telling you, we could have walked every Ron Paul person out of that room, and I don't think the people left would have voted for this. This is obvious fraud. And it's against the national rules. How did they accomplish that? Well, the way they accomplished that was they dictated from the executive board. They sent out a letter to everybody in the party, and they said, the executive board has determined that we're going, and to implement the existing rule, we're going to do this and that and the other thing. Once again, because they invented new rules after September 15th, 2007, they were violating national rules. But that's not the big one. It was the fact that they were dictating rules on how this convention would proceed from the state, the authority of the state committee, or the ostensible authority of the state committee, and that's explicitly against Washington state law. But we could have stopped them before they tried it. We could have gone to court and stopped them before they tried it, but they were cagey. They never actually said they were implementing this rule. They implied it. They put it in that letter. They said the executive board has passed a resolution. Well, that's just a resolution. They didn't say it was a rule. It was just a resolution. So everyone read, oh, it's a new rule. They acted as if it was a rule. They began to control who could be on the ballot based on the new rule. Even in conversations with the state party, they called it a rule, but they didn't put it on paper. And we couldn't prove that they were instituting a rule. If they had, we could have had an injunction preventing it here. We were looking for it. We spent hours looking for this. Nobody has been, they've been acting like this for 30 years and no one has been able to push them to the point where they had to actually admit what they were doing until today. You did it.